over at Allure Labs. Been there for about 2.5 years now. Previously was working at Chainlink for 3 years, leading their strategic business development team, and almost what a past life was. Worked in the Web2 space, leading business operations for a company that got sold to private equity for 1.6 billion. So been in the tech space for close to 15 years now, and have seen a lot.
Fantastic introduction. Thank you, Mike. For those who don't know, I'm Matt. I built AI trading agents at Eterna, and we built infrastructure to help you do the same for yourself. So, Mike, before we get into projects, I want to set a scene for people. I used AI for everything, writing proposals, workflows, analytics. I was paying for ChatGPT, Claude, multiple subscriptions, but none of them actually made money for me. They wrote emails, they brainstormed,
Yep.
they assisted, but they never increased my wallet or bank account balance. And Mike, you come from the infrastructure side. You were at Chainlink for over 3 years. Uh, were you seeing the same gap, the disconnect between what AI promises and what it actually does?
I'd say yes and no. AI, most people when they think of AI, let's just be real, they think of LLMs. They think of ChatGPT. Maybe now in the past couple of months with agents taking off, people may think of Anthropic, Claude, agents, etc. But we're just now starting to pass that precipice. But I'd say, prior to 2 months, you asked 99% of people what they think of AI. Really, what they think of is ChatGPT. And LLMs
Hmm.
are fantastic. I remember the first time, like a lot of people, the first time you used an LLM, probably back like December 2023, and your mind was blown. Like, holy, this is something that I didn't think I would be using right now. This feels like the future. And
Hmm.
LLMs are very, very good at a lot of things, but really, they're good at predicting the next letter or word in a sentence or a paragraph. However, they do have their limitations. One of the things they're actually very, very poor at is trying to do any sort of time series forecast. So, a time series forecast is predicting a number into the future.
Hmm.
It's a specific type of machine learning model, and this is something that has been worked on for the past 40 plus years. However, a large language model is just like fundamentally from the way that it's constructed, going to be very poor at doing time series forecasts.
Hmm.
So if you're trying to trade, what you want is a time series forecast. You're trying to ultimately predict the future value of something. So if you're trying to do an analysis on sentiment analysis, something like that, maybe a self-hosted LLM is something that might make sense. But if you're trying to come up with a raw number or a raw return of an asset into the future, an LLM isn't going to be the right tool for you. Again, LLMs
Right.
are fantastic at many, many things, but it's just not the right tool for something like trading where you're wanting to plug in a future value and then derive a strategy based off of that.
Hmm.
And that's why you haven't seen people making a ton of money trading markets with ChatGPT. I mean, everybody knows ChatGPT, and we'd be having billionaires left and right if it was any good at doing that.
Right, I agree. Yeah, no, there's this famous experiment with AI. Give me a random number, and it constantly like gives it has a tendency to give all the LLM models have a tendency to give one number, and it's seven, I guess, or something like that. So yeah, give me predict it for me seven. Like there's this inherent bias or limitation in them, which is what makes it so difficult. Um, this gap between AI just writing text and actually doing something useful um, has a personal side for me. Like I had crypto. I have years in crypto, similar to you, Mike, when it comes to job and experience and stuff. And I made real money, like thousands of dollars, buying low and selling high. But every dollar I made came with a giant emotional tax. I don't know if you experienced that as well.
I mean, these hands, they're made out of diamond. I have a very tough time selling. I fall in love with things that I buy. I've done the math before of, if I only sold this at the right
Hmm.
time, how much more would I have made? I don't even want to say the number, but let's just say
Yeah.
like I would be buying a private island at this point.
Right.
Like, but yeah, obviously that's not the case. I get too emotionally invested. If there was something that could help me steer my decisions to take the emotions out of it, I know,
Hmm.
me personally, I would have benefited a lot from that because I'm the type that, I just believe too much and I don't give up hope. And then finally, when I should have given up hope weeks ago, I'd finally tap out and say, all right, maybe I should
Got
get
it.
out now. That's worth almost nothing.
Right. So you find yourself market dumping on your bags.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good about getting in early, but I'm not good about getting out early.
Yeah, I think I'm sure a lot of people listening to this can resonate with that. Yeah, for me it was I was spending time with kids and I was checking prices constantly, or I was at the party and I was checking. I was constantly thinking about what's going on in crypto. Worrying about the next regulation or some politician saying something that nukes my bags overnight was super stressful. And the tragedy is when you make a bad trade, you feel bad. But when you make a good trade, you also kind of feel bad because it could have been better. So you left something on the table. And it's never a good feeling.
Yeah, that's it's true. Well, in the moment, it's not. Then I guarantee you, like a year later, you're gonna feel as long as it wasn't that bad of a trade, you're still gonna feel good about it. But at the moment, you're always like looking at the chart, and then you wait 10 minutes and you see that it went up like 1%, and you're like, oh, if I
Right.
just waited like 10 more minutes, I would have been a much more profitable trade. But you can't think like that. It's a learned skill that I've learned over the last decade of abstract yourself away from it and just be happy with any sell that you make that's in profit. I mean, really, is like what you
Easy to
gotta.
say, Mike. Easy to
Yeah,
say.
they're not all going to be in profit. I can guarantee you that. So that's why you got to cherish the ones that you are in profit. I've been up, things like 15x, and I've sold them for a 60% profit. But looking back
Hmm.
on that now, like I still made a 60% profit on it. Like
Rough.
that was good. I could have
Yes.
been a 15x, but like coulda, woulda, shoulda. Like I actually sold this one token that I have in mind. I won't name it, but it's a pretty big token at the end of the 2020 bull run, and yeah, it pretty much like got rugged the day after, and I just had some feeling. Got out the day before, was already kind of like going down, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna take my money off the table. It's not gonna come
Hmm.
back. I end up with a 60% profit, but the people that were in it like less than 24 hours later, they were down like 80%, no matter what their cost basis was. So
Hmm.
if you just got to be happy whenever you end up in profit.
Yeah.
It is mentally taxing though. I joke with friends. I'm like, you ever want to have a chart of my mental health? Just look at like a candlestick chart on a daily time frame of like Bitcoin or ETH, and that will tell you my mental health over the last decade.
Hmm. Yeah, ETH is an interesting case. I see memes going around the crypto Twitter right now about the price of ETH over the last few years. But yeah, I also tried like a few solutions that failed me. Like I paid for a signal group on Telegram once, but every time I opened Telegram, the signal was already outdated and the entry window was gone. And then I also tried building custom sniping bots, and they actually made good money once, like a few $1,000s, but then it sort of failed and it was super fragile and stressful and unreliable. And I'm curious what's like in your world of making predictions, like what's the equivalent? What's broken about how people make price predictions today, and whether it's a human analyst or a single algorithm or a single AI model for that matter? What's the failure mode?
Yeah, I'd say going back to it, LLMs good at predicting the next letter in a sentence, bad at doing time series forecast. Now you want to have a dedicated time series forecast model. That's going to take specialized knowledge. You may need to be an expert in machine learning. You may need to have a financial background. It's not something that just everyone can wake up one day and do, and be very good at it. Uh, but let's say even you build a time series forecast model. just by the nature of how models perform. Some models are going to perform best in highly volatile markets, some in sideways markets, some in low volume, some in high volume, etc. And that's just the design of a model. So what people have done is, they make these sophisticated things called an ensemble model, where it's basically, it will look at different market conditions, have different models that get different weights at different times based on these market conditions. And that's really what we built over here at Allura Network, is a decentralized ensemble model. So anybody can contribute to this network. The way that the network is arranged is into topics. So let's say this topic is, what's the price of Bitcoin going to be an hour from now? So that would be a topic. And then within that topic, you have two sets of what we call workers. You have inference workers and forecasting workers. The inference workers, those are parties that run disparate machine learning models that are purpose-built for that defined objective of the topic. So they're running these time series forecast models. We're not asking them to do anything weird like upload your model or your intellectual property to the blockchain. All that these guys are doing are running their models and then submitting their inference from the model to the network. So that's the inference worker part. The other side of the equation is the forecasters. And forecasters, they have what I was talking about, of that contextual awareness of knowing what are the current market conditions and which models in this topic perform the best under similar market conditions in the past. And then they use that to run a loss function against all the inferences that they received during that round to then predict which of those predictions is going to be the most accurate based on their historical accuracy under similar market conditions in the past. And then they use that to create a single aggregated answer. So you take inferences from many different models, all for that same topic, all for that same time horizon, all for that same time period, run this loss function against it, and then you have this single weighted average. And there's been a lot of academic research coming out the past 3-4 years. You've had Carnegie Mellon, Stanford, UC Berkeley, all published stating that the future of AI is likely to be more narrowly defined models that are using combination with each other to produce a single result. And that's what we see in our own research and testing as well, where the output of the network consistently outperforms any of the individual models within it. So it's a system where the sum is greater than the parts, and then it's dynamically weighted where you have all these different models that are trying to predict the same thing, but fundamentally you're going to have some of these models that just perform best in different market conditions. If there's a lot of volatility, model A might be the best. If it's more of a sideways market, model B might be the best. And then the network of forecasters, it learns all the strengths and weaknesses of models and then just self-improves. And then over time, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And the models also learn off each other as well, not just the forecasters. And you start having a system where, okay, as the market conditions adapt, we're going to have the best time series forecast that's relatable to it. And so you have this very hardened network that's able to provide you a very high fidelity time series forecast for any sort of like supervised machine learning problem, which typically that's some sort of like price, log return, volatility, APY prediction, etc.
Got it. So it's kind of like, instead of hiring one analyst, you're running a tournament of hundreds of analysts, and you only listen to the ones who've been right recently or in similar market conditions.
Exactly.
Wow, that sounds super interesting and powerful. So was there a specific moment, a conversation or a data point, something that broke, where you realized competing models with economic incentives was the answer?
I would love to take credit for it, but I'd have to give the credit to our co-founder, Nick Emmons. Nick was very early on board with this. And I remember the first time meeting with him, talking about Allura, I didn't really get it, to be completely honest with you. I came from a background at Chainlink, obviously knew the power of bringing off-chain data on-chain. At Chainlink, we're focused on real-time data. First conversation with Nick, frankly, went a little bit over my head. But it was actually one of those things that I had a conversation with him, and then I sat down. The immediate reaction was like, I don't know if this is really going to work. But then I started thinking about it. And the more that I thought about it, the more it started to actually make a lot more sense, where like one light bulb went off. And then a whole stadium of light bulbs went off, thinking of, okay, yeah, you're now using multiple and taking, a system where the sum is greater than the part, tying economic incentives to it, adding a staking mechanism to it, and then ultimately, what is more valuable, knowing the present or knowing the future? So obviously, knowing the present is very valuable. You have some very highly valued companies like Chainlink, Pip, etc., who focus on providing real-time information in a highly secure way. But if you're able to solve what the future holds, that
Mhm.
is something that is,
The Holy Grail.
who knows? Yeah, that's the holy grail. Who knows how valuable that's going to be, but it's a lot more interesting of a problem to solve. So, like I said, it was one of those things that I didn't understand the moment that I heard it, but the longer that I thought about it, the more and more sense that it made, and was something that I was like, I want to be a part of this. This sounds extremely cool. I look forward to building this. Let's do it. So we've been working on it for the past 2.5, close to 3 years. We went on mainnet in November. We have really good results from the network. We have over 100 teams that are using this in some capacity for various use cases, a lot of them being trading focused. They're all having a lot of success. Um, so it's just the beginning, but it's been really strong and really powerful results that we've gotten so far. So looking forward to continuing that momentum.
Wow, I love how this philosophical almost realization that, hey, future is actually more valuable than present ties to your career progression from Chainlink to Alora. Amazing. My story with AI powered trading goes like this. Like one day we saw a stat that changed everything. That over 50% of all crypto trading volume is already non-human. So we are talking bots, algorithms, market makers. So if you're still trading manually, you're actually in a shrinking minority. So as a research and development project, we built Eterna AI, and I deposited $50, told it in plain English, perform technical analysis, find opportunities, manage positions, and just walked away. And 4 hours, 4 days later, I'm preparing for a webinar at Eterna, and I was curious. I wanted to grab some data, so I asked Claude to give me profit and loss, and it told me my portfolio is already 20% up without touching a chart, looking at the chart or making any decision on my side. And then 8 days later, it was already 30%. And that's when I knew this is real. So I started sharing the results with my wife, and a funny thing happened because there's this meme in crypto Twitter that traders hide losses from their spouses. But my wife, when she saw the results, she was like, "Come on, we got to deposit more to this AI trading bot." So, um, Mike, give me a concrete example from your side. If someone is consuming Alara predictions right now, what do they actually get? What does that look like?
So if you're consuming forecasts from Alora, right now, our bread and butter, we have versions available on testnet as well as mainnet. Our price and log return predictions for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Sol. I believe we have something for gold up there as well. We offer them in a variety of time frames, namely 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 8 hour, 1 day, and 1 week. So if you're looking to consume Alora, you would need to decide, okay, do I want to consume this as a price prediction or do I want to consume it as a log return? Log
Mhm.
return, basically, it's very similar, but you normalize out where if something goes up 100%, it's the same as going down like 50%. So that would just be a
Mhm.
price return. Going up 20%, going down 20%. That's pretty much like which flavor that you would want, and then you would consume it via an API, and then it's something that you would then put into your trading architecture as basically like a technical indicator. Of course, it's something that you're going to want to build a coherent strategy around. It's not something that is God. Nobody has a model that can be more than if you're looking at something like directional accuracy. The top end of the world's absolute best models. Again, these aren't models that you're ever had access to. These are models that are under lock and key at Jane Street or somewhere else. They're going to be around 55, 56% directionally accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Directional accuracy isn't the best metric, but it's probably the easiest to understand. But you're looking at directional accuracy. Yeah, if something is predicted to go 0.0001% up and it goes 0.001% down, that's not really that big of a miss. But that
Mm-hmm.
is treated the same as if you predict 10% up and it goes 10% down. So that's why directional
Mm-hmm.
accuracy isn't the best. But
Right.
anybody
So
that's telling you that they have a model that's more than 55, 56% directionally accurate, either they're cherry picking very small time frames or they're just not being honest. That's
mm-hmm.
really like the limit that you can be at with today's technology before just noise and randomness of the universe comes into the equation. But there are ways that you can make the signal stronger, where if you only act on I'm going to look at a threshold between the current price and the predicted price. And if that threshold is greater than X%, that's when I'm going to take action. If you start implementing things like that, you can see a curve go in direct correlation with looking at the bigger signals, and that directional accuracy will go all the way up 65, or if you really want to tighten it down to the absolute biggest signals, you're looking at like 80, 85%. So it's all about building a coherent risk managed trading strategy with Allura, but there is a scientific, mathematical, provable edge that it can give you.
wait, so you're saying that with Alora, if this data is consumed right and in an intelligent way, we can actually outperform predictions that the biggest hedge funds and all these institutions are making?
No, I wouldn't say that. So when I say like 55, 56, that's if you take every single forecast and going back to if it's just a very small movement in one direction and it actually ends up being a very small movement in another direction, they're going to be around 55, 56% accurate.
Hmm.
Allura, depending on the topic, the time horizon, you're probably looking at like 52 and a half to 53 and a half. But that's at like just the raw face value. But if like you abstract away, all right, I'm not going to pay attention to like these very small predicted movements. I don't care about them. I'm not going to take action on them. And you only want to say, I want to take action on these larger predicted movements. That's when you're going
Hmm.
to see the accuracy jump up to 60, 70, all the way up to like 80 if you get like very tight with what your threshold is going to be for what action you're going to take, and making sure, all
Got
right,
it.
I'm only going to be taking action on stuff that is giving me the strongest possible signal. So you're not going to have, if it's a 5 minute feed that updates every 1 minute, it's not like you're going to have something every 1 minute to take action on. You're just going to need to sit
Right.
there and wait for that strong enough signal to come in. But then when that strong enough signal does come in, you're going to have a very high likelihood of being on the right side of that trade.
Got it. So filter out like low opportunity or low confidence predictions and act
Exactly.
on the rest. And and what matters is not if the prediction is always right, or if the prediction was wrong or right, but what matters more is how wrong or how right was it.
Yeah, like that's when you can start getting to like very advanced statistics, like uh, mean square root error, RMSE, R2. There's a lot of PhD level statistics that our team looks at and tracks. We're going to have a new Explorer coming out where all this is going to be available in real time, so you can actually see it. But like I said, directional accuracy, it's the easiest to understand, but it's not really the best at telling like the true
Not the
story.
best
But a
metric.
lot of
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like the better metrics, they basically take into account magnitude errors of, was it not just directionally accurate, but, how was it not just up, down, binary, yes, no? Was it a big move and you predicted a small move? Was it a small move and you predicted a big move? Like what is the actual magnitude of your errors? And that's
Mm-hmm.
really like what the better measuring stick is for something like a time series forecast. But I think that would take up the rest of this conversation if we started diving into advanced statistics. And at least for me, I know
Yeah.
if I was in the audience, I wouldn't want to go down that route. But
This
if anybody, is really that curious, look up MSE, RMSE, R2. Those are all very valuable statistics, but have fun looking those up on your own time.
Yes, this technology is cutting edge, so the conversation about it can get technical really quick. So let's get concrete. I'm running an agent that does technical analysis only right now, and we layer in LRA predictions. What's the theoretical edge? Is it speed? Is it accuracy? Catching things that technical analysis alone would miss?
I would say it would be accuracy and then providing sort of a dynamicism to like what you're describing with like technical analysis. That is usually just based off static logic of if this, then do that. What
Mm-hmm.
you can do is then augment it with Allura, and now you have this dynamic system that's being contributed to by hundreds of different models all across the world. You have one ultimate answer that's ultimately going to perform any of the individual models within that topic. And then that is something that you can incorporate as an additional weight into your technical analysis to then give it some additional edge. And that's what a lot of people are doing. Probably like the easiest example of this is, there's more than a few people out there that are using these predictions on binary options markets. So if like you're familiar with Polymarket's 5-minute or 15-minute binary options market, they will use the Allura feed to basically help trade on those. So for 5 minutes, you'll get a new prediction every 1 minute. So they'll look at, all right, where's this going to be going? And they can either buy at the beginning of a round, look at it something later in the round for where they think it's going to end up. But there's been people that have been very successful. Not really going to out them because they like to kind of have their privacy and not have
Stay in
everybody
the shadow.
copy trade them. Yeah,
Yes.
that's the thing. If you see someone telling you that they turned $10,000 into $1 million on Polymarket, if you see that on Twitter, all you need to do is subscribe to their Telegram channel. They're not being honest with you. The people
Never
that are
happened.
actually doing that, they are not sharing that alpha. But I have
Mm-hmm.
seen, because these are people that we work with professionally. We may be under an NDA with them, but I have seen their accounts. I know how they are using these things, and
Mm-hmm.
they are doing so very successfully in terms of using these predictions. Looking for the strongest signals, taking actions on those strongest signals. Some may be doing it at the beginning of the round, some may be doing it more in the middle of a round. But probably like the binary option space is the easiest thing to understand when it comes to, okay, you have a prediction for 5 minutes into the future. Well, this market is literally, is the price going to be up or down 5 minutes into the future? So that's probably the easiest, least complex version of
Application.
how
Yeah.
would you leverage a prediction from Allura in a real world use case. That's probably like one of the easier ones to grasp and understand.
You mentioned something important here, Mike, that I want to focus on because I know our audience is thinking this. If Allura predictions are that good, wouldn't everyone just use them and the edge disappears? Isn't that how markets work?
Yeah, so theoretically that is true, where if everybody is trading off of the same exact strategy and the same exact information, then your market becomes too efficient where there's nobody to take the other side of the trade. However, it's, I guess, one of those things like we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Right now we have predictions for Bitcoin, ETH, Sol. Those are the 3 largest market cap tokens on the planet. So, well, I guess there are other ones larger than Sol at this point in time, but still, point is very highly liquid market. We're just scratching the surface. It's a problem that we are aware of, and theoretically, that is something that could come into play. But I think
Mm-hmm.
we have quite some time before everyone in the world is using the same Allure signal to trade the
Mm-hmm.
markets. If that's a bridge we have to cross some time from now, I'd be very happy about that. But I think that's something where not to work, because even if you all using Allure, you're all going to have your different strategies. Some are going to be more risk managed, others are going to be more aggressive. So even if everyone
Mm-hmm.
is using the same signal, you may have a different risk appetite for how you
Yes.
ultimately devise your strategy. So not everyone's going to be running the same exact strategy. But yeah, it's one of those things where every strategy has its own capacity. You can't have
Right.
infinite capacity in a single strategy.
Yes. So you mentioned before that a smart way of integrating Allura wouldn't be to act on every signal, but to filter them out. So that might also factor in the end result that not everyone is going to act on the same signal, and therefore some people are gonna have a better performance out of integrating with Allura. Um, and also, what I think is important to realize is for our audience is early adopters can benefit more from Allura because there's fewer actors on the market using these predictions.
Absolutely. Yeah. The longer you wait, the more people that there are going to be running a strategy similar to the one that you want to be running.
Mm-hmm.
So the best day would have been yesterday. The second best day is now.
Today, yes. Okay, so if I'm someone watching this right now who uses ChatGPT every day and has never set up a trading agent, what does the combination of Allura and AI actually mean for me? Like, why should I care about this?
So this is something where, let's say you're setting up your own trading agent. You can make an API call through GPT. So if you're running any sort of agent or running some sort of co-work out of Claude, it's something where you can plug in your LoRa API key. You can
Mm-hmm.
have Claude, Codex, etc. build you this trading strategy. All you would then do is have it make an external API call to the Allura network for this prediction, and then you go on about the rest of your workflow. So if you're using GPT to trade, let's say you're paying an absurd amount. I know there's people doing this that are paying an absurd amount for the X API because they want to get sentiment data. And
Yes.
oh my God, it's so expensive
It,
how
it
they changed the billing on it. But
True,
if that's
and it also costs a lot of money to process all this data from X. Then when it comes to usage or LLM tokens, right, to analyze the
yeah,
sentiment of all these tweets.
but if you have kind of your own process and you say, hey, I built this trading bot, I kind of like it, it's performing well. Allura isn't something where, hey, this is a replacement for that. Allura is something where it's going to augment and enhance
Mm-hmm.
what you've already built. So if you've built your own trading bot, like I said, in Codex or in Claude, that's great. You're actually one of the target customer profiles for Allura
Mm-hmm.
because now that you can add in this element of having this crystal ball of saying, okay, I created a 15-minute trading strategy, or I created one day an 8-hour trading strategy, and it was just going off technical analysis. You can
Mm-hmm.
have Claude say, okay, well, look, and I know that it's going to be 6% accurate. And
Mm-hmm.
you can either track that yourself over time, but like I said, in probably the next 2 to maybe 4 weeks at most, we're going to have a revamped Explorer that's going to be able to show all the statistics for not only just each topic in the network, but each individual worker, so you can
Mm-hmm.
see how the magic is generated and prove that okay, the results from the network are actually better than any of these individual models. And you can have an idea of the accuracy of each of the topics that you're going to be consuming. So then you go to your agent and say, hey, here's the accuracy in general of this predictive feed that I want to integrate this into the strategy, use proper risk management to make use of this sort of feed, knowing that this is how accurate it's going to be in terms of mean squared error, it's RMSE, it's R2, it's directional accuracy, and then AI does a pretty good job of integrating it. And
Mm-hmm.
then now you have this very powerful component of a time series forecast in your strategy, which is then hopefully going to just enhance the efficiency
Mm-hmm.
of the strategy that you've already built. So we're not trying to replace ChatGPT. We're not trying to replace Claude. This is more of a tool that you can use in conjunction with
Mm-hmm.
that, actually, to put it to its like maximum power. You're going to actually want to leverage it in something like an agent to actually be doing what you want to do. So yeah, that's a great use case.
Got it. So right now, my AI trading agent can look at to the past. It can use the training data. It can analyze charts from the past. But integrating Alora would be kind of like giving this AI trading agent sort of like these magic glasses and allow it
Yeah.
to look into the future and act based on these predictions.
Instead of being
Hopefully,
100% reactive, you're now adding an element of being proactive to it.
I love the way to put this. So you know what, Mike? I think the only way to actually settle this is to test it, not hypothetically, not on paper. What if we run two agents side by side, one with Alora predictions and one without, with real money, and just let the results speak?
Let's do it. That'd be very fun. We've talked about this in the past. We've had people do this with automated liquidity management. They saw a reduction of 55% in permanent loss by just replacing being reactive to the current price with an Alora feed. So this sounds fun. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see the results. Let's do it.
Yeah. So I want to tell everyone who's watching what we are doing. We are going to run the first AI bot fight. Two AI trading agents, same market, same time frame, real money, and bot A, Eterna's agent running pure technical analysis, the same kind of agent that made 30% in 8 days for me, and bot B, Eterna's agent, same infrastructure, but powered by Alora's predictions from their network on competing models. And they trade side by side, fully transparently, live on a dashboard. So you can see every decision, every trading decision, every short and long position they're opening, and AI's reasoning behind it. Nothing is hidden, and you can see profit and loss in real time. And here's what makes this different from every comparison you've ever seen online. You can participate. You pick which bot you think will win, and you put real money behind your prediction. And early believers get a bigger share of the profits. So the later you join, the smaller your share. And if your bot wins, then you share the gains proportional to what you contributed and when. And we are building this right now. It's not live yet, but on Thursday's call, we are going to walk through exactly how it works, the rules, the timeline, the dashboard, and how to get early access. And so I want to get your honest take, Mike, for the audience. Would Alora put its predictions up against a trading, like technical analysis only agent in a fully public, fully transparent competition like this?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Need to see the details on how the trading is actually going to work. Like I said, you don't want to go 100x long on something just because you got a prediction that the price of Bitcoin is going to go up 0.001%. But as long as it has proper risk management and
Mm-hmm.
leverages the feeds in the right way, I know where I'm putting my money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the attitude. So, what does Alora need to deliver on your end? What you guys need to deliver to make this work, or is everything fully ready? Just go grab an API key and
Everything's
integrate.
fully ready. We need to figure out, okay, if we're gonna have apples to apples, what's the trading strategy that, say, the non-Allure powered version is gonna do, and then how are we gonna make it so, all right, the only thing that's being changed is this component of being reactive to the current price is now being supplanted by being proactive to the future price.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as we define the strategy of how it's going to operate there, then everything should be ready to go on the lower side, especially if we're doing some sort of time frame that already exists. So 5 minute, 15 minute, 8 hour, 1 day. As long as it falls within that sort of time horizon, then yeah, everything's ready to go.
Fantastic. Sounds like we can integrate that quite quickly. And I want to underline these bots will trade the same set of pairs, and they are going to start with the same initial capital. So the bot fight is coming, but you don't have to wait to get involved. Quest number 5 on Eterna trading platform is live right now, and this one is with Alora. And the prize pool is $3,000 worth of EHX tokens for top 10 traders by volume. And here's a bonus part: Alora API access for the top 20 by volume. So you can build your own trading bot that leverages Alora predictions and outsmart the market. You can see a link on the screen, which you go to participate in that quest. So if you liked what you heard today, Thursday is where it gets real. On Thursday's call, we are going deep on giving a full walkthrough on the AI bot fight, the rules, the timeline, how the participation works, live demo on how Eterna AI agent actually makes trading predictions. Trading decisions. It will make predictions with Alora, hopefully soon. So you'll see that happening in real time. We'll show how to get early access to the AI bot fight, why being early matters, and how profits are then shared and distributed. And we'll do open Q&A. And if you missed our last session where we walked through building an AI trading agent in under 30 minutes, the recording and full blog breakdown, you can find them on Eterna Exchange website, and also you see the link on the screen right now. I want to take a few minutes to take any questions from our audience about Alora so that Mike can answer and clarify while we have him here. So if there's any questions, feel free, guys, to put them in the chat. And we can address them. And in the meantime, once again, you don't have to wait for the AI bot fight. You can participate right now. There's a live quest on Eterna platform where you can participate in a prize pool of up to $3,000 in EHX tokens for top 10 traders, and your own API key giving you access to Alora predictions, and giving you an ability to predict the price for top 20. Very generous of you, Mike, and of Alora team. Top 20 people get access to Alora and get their own API key.
Looking forward to it. This is gonna be fun.
All right. So, Mike, any final words for the audience before we close off?
Final words. If what you heard today sounds very interesting, you want to find out more about the project, go to our website, alora.network. Also, feel free to follow myself or the Alora Network on Twitter for the latest updates. We also have a Discord channel that you can join to stay up to date, become part of the community. But really, if you want to get involved, be involved in this trading competition, stay tuned for the bot fight. Very interested to see how that turns out. We're just now starting to scratch the surface in AI-powered trading bots and what they can do. Really taking it to the next level now that they're being enhanced with things like time series forecasts and not just running purely off LLMs and static logic. So really appreciate you guys tuning in today. Hopefully the conversation has been pretty interesting, and would love for you to stay following our team and stay up to date.
Definitely follow Mike and Alora on social media. Join their Discord community. And thank you, Mike. Thank you, everyone who watched. Quick recap: the quest is live on Eterna platform. The AI bot fight is coming, and Thursday call is where you learn how to participate So if that sounds interesting, Thursday is when the magic happens, and you definitely want to be there, not miss it. And so see you on Thursday. Thank you, everyone.